Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. Today we are going to go through the digital envelope budgeting system, what that means and what that looks like using this planner. So I have a little bookmark here to keep track of the pages in my planner that relate to the digital envelope budgeting system, but we're going to get started with the instructions sheet. So you know by now these planner inserts are available in my shop. I will have them linked down below. One thing I'm super excited about for the 2026 version of this planner is this digital envelope budget system instruction sheet. It is like 5 quick steps that you can do to get started using this system, because I think a lot of people are interested in it, but they don't quite know how to set up the pieces of it. So that's why I included this. And it's much more simple than you think, you guys. And it does a pretty good job of mimicking cash envelope systems. So let's walk through it. Let's start with the instructions. And then I will show you how that manifests itself in this planner. Before diving in really hard, let me say, if you don't use the digital envelope budgeting system, that is okay. This planner can be used without doing this system, but I encourage you maybe to give it a try. This is for those people who love the benefits of the cash envelope system, but they are just not about to go to the bank and pull out cash every week or every month. I don't think the last time I've been to a bank to pull out money was probably 2003. I mean, it's just, I'm not about to do it. And I'm be honest with you. And I've tried the cash envelope system and it just doesn't work for me. So I needed to come up with something else. And this is that something else. So let's see what it looks like. Okay. The first step when you are trying to start this system is you need to have a digital envelope spending account. You do. That's the account that you're going to use to spend the funds in your digital envelope, to keep track of the funds and to spend the funds. Now, this could be your main account if you want it to be. I would suggest that you set up a secondary spending account, either a second checking account or a spending card, like a Cash App card or a Walmart card or whatever you use. I just have a second checking account. Most banks, it's very easy to just set up a checking account. If you have a history with that bank, just log into your online account and you probably can set up a second account like within 5 minutes. It is like really not that big of a deal. And if you don't have a secondary spending account, most people have a credit card. They have a debit card, some type of card that they can use for a spending account. Do whatever works best for you. I'm not suggesting you buy your groceries on credit, although a lot of people do that and they just pay the credit card each month, but that's up to you. The point is you need a dedicated digital envelope spending account. I would suggest that you have one. Then you need to set up a sinking fund savings account. Same spiel that I gave for the checking account. If you have a history with your bank, setting up a separate savings account is not an issue. Or if you use some other funding account for your savings account. But the savings account allows you to use your digital envelopes for those special one-off events. Like if you're saving for a vacation or a big purchase, and when you see the cash envelope system, those people are putting that into an envelope, right? So the point is, we're not using cash envelopes. We're not putting cash into envelopes. So you need to have an account where you put that cash. That's where the savings account comes in. Those are the only really 2 accounts that you need. Now, some people want to have a separate spending account for each envelope. I don't suggest that, but you could. A separate savings account, I don't suggest that, but you could. You'll quickly end up with 10 or 12 savings and checking accounts, though. I only have one of each. Okay, So then your next step is you determine your sinking funds and challenges. So each period you determine which sinking funds, remember, these are your one-off savings. Things like savings for a vacation or savings for a big purchase that you want to use a digital envelope for. Some of that stuff you may use a digital envelope for, some of it you don't. A good example of that is I am going to use a digital envelope for my birthday trip coming up in October. I would save the money anyway, but I'm going to use a digital envelope for it. So you just kind of determine your sinking funds. These are not your monthly variables. These are your one-offs and your challenges. Then the next thing you're going to do is determine your envelope categories. These are your monthly variable categories, the ones that you're going to track every month. And those are things like health and beauty, gas, food, fun, those things, right? And I have a worksheet that you set that up each month. You're determining what you're going to use each month. And then finally, you just label and track. You basically start implementing, label and track your envelopes. So that is how the system works. Really straightforward. Set up your accounts, determine your sinking funds, determine your variable categories, label and track your envelopes. Okay, the back page, it just highlights the worksheets in this planner that are specific to the digital envelope system. So we have the digital envelope sinking worksheet. That is where you identify your challenges for the year. Your digital envelope sinking account, that's where you track that savings account to keep track of those challenges. Your digital envelopes breakdown, this is available monthly where you list your monthly variable envelopes. Your My Budget activity, goes along with your expense tracker where you track your expenses and you track your balance in your envelopes. Very straightforward, right? And then I have some extension sheets where you can, if you need more envelopes for that period, month, week, however you use this planner, you have some extension sheets that you can bring in more envelopes. And then I just have a notes page here where you can write down your own some tips and notes that you want to remember about your approach. So if you want to customize a few things, and trust me, you're going to need a place to kind of jot down your approach and how you're using it, this notes page is front and back. Is a great place to do that. So those are the instructions. Let's do a quick review, and then I'm going to walk you through doing this in the planner. Remember, set up your digital spending account. Do that at your bank. Set up a sinking fund savings account. Do that at your bank or on your online account. Determine your sinking funds. Determine your envelope categories. Label and track. Okay, with that in mind, where you want to get started is in your annual section. Okay, in your annual section, the first thing you're going to do is figure out which sinking funds, which specialty savings are you going to work on and you want to track with a digital envelope. You don't have to put everything here. I don't know what I put here actually. I just put things that I just want to have more hands-on savings experience with, I guess, or a savings experience that's a little bit more tangible. Shorter term savings windows work best for me for envelopes. If I was trying to save throughout the whole year, I would just do a tracker or a challenge sheet, like my savings jar challenge sheet, because I'm not going to keep up with an envelope all year. But I would say probably for me, if I'm saving for something like 3 months or less, then I might consider doing it in a digital envelope. So for this example, I have a birthday trip coming up in October. So September 25th, I started a birthday travel digital envelope. And my goal for that digital envelope is $3,500. Okay. And I also started a Christmas savings digital envelope because Christmas is coming up in December. My goal for that envelope is $1,000. I put the category that those funds typically fall in. Birthday travel would fall into travel. Christmas savings. I don't have a gift category. I realize for 2026, I think I'm going to need a gift category. But for now, I'm going to put it under family and friends because I didn't start 2025 with a gift category. So I don't want to add a new category in the last quarter. But So for now, it's going to go under family and friends. But this is me on step 3. Step 1 was set up my savings account or set up my checking account and set up my savings account. Okay, I've done those 2 things. Step 3 is determining which sinking funds I'm going to track. So for the fall, these are probably going to be the only 2 that I track for the fall up until the end of 2026. Now, this is just putting my goal here, right? So my digital envelope sinking account is where I track the money that's coming and going into my actual account. So I set up my sinking account. I call it Sinking and Challenges account. That's the name of the account at my bank. And I am tracking the deposits and withdrawals that I make into that account. This account is the same as having an envelope that you put money in and take money out. It's the exact same thing, you guys. It's just you're putting it into one account. That's it. And I will show you how I list this and kind of, again, bring that tactical feel of cash envelopes. But so into that account, I made a deposit, a sinking funds deposit. Which envelope does that deposit relate to? We have a column so that I know which envelope that specific money goes to. It goes to my birthday travel. So it's in the travel category. I made an $800 deposit. My balance in that account was $800. I also made a sinking funds deposit into my Christmas savings account of $50. So now my balance, my total balance is $850. But because I'm keeping track, I know that $800 is for birthday travel and only $50 is for Christmas savings. This is the exact same thing as if I had 2 envelopes, one for $50, one for Christmas and one for vacation. And in Christmas, I would have $50 and vacation, I would have $800. Same. Okay. Now, how am I going to use some of my tracking pages to visually represent that? Because isn't that the fun of cash envelopes, visually representing this stuff? So you have, if you have this planner, in your challenges workbook, your extra challenge sheets, we have these digital cash envelope sheets. So you can choose the design that you want. There are several designs available. I like this one because it's very fall oriented. And I am going to use this design. Sorry, this planner is so thick, guys. I am going to use this design to keep track of my digital envelope. And this is replicating actually using a digital envelope where you would, or actually using a cash envelope where you would put cash in here. I'm actually going to go with a different pen because that other pen skips and I don't want to mess up my page. So I am going to take these envelopes and I am going to label them just like I would do in a regular envelope, right? So this one is going to be birthday travel. My goal for birthday travel is going to be, what did I say it was going to be? $3,500. And then this one is going to be Christmas fund. Well, what actually did I call it? I called it Christmas savings. That's boring. I'm going to say Christmas savings fund. And I set that at $1,000. Now, if I was doing this on my envelope, I would have put birthday travel, and then I would have put probably again birthday travel and my goal. Same thing I'm doing here. Same thing. Now I want to keep track of the actual balance that's in this envelope. So I made a deposit of $800 on the 25th. Right, it was a sinking fund deposit, and it was $800. So my balance on this envelope is $800. I would put that right here if I had put cash in there. You see, it is totally emulating the cash savings experience. I'm going to do the same thing for Christmas savings fund. $9.25. It was a sinking fund deposit. I made a deposit of $50. My balance is $50, right? So what I'm probably going to go ahead and do is keep this cash envelope tracker in my current month, because that's where I do, actually no, I'm going to keep it in my annual. You can keep it wherever you want. I'm going to keep it in my annual section, because that's where I would be coming in here and updating this page. Right? But what I want to really point out before we get to the months is that that experience is very similar to using a cash envelope. You did the exact same thing, you guys. What you didn't do is that you didn't have to make a trip to the bank to get 850 cash dollars. So that's why I love this system, and it's very straightforward. At this point, all we have done is we set up our sinking funds account. We set up our variable spending account. I did that offline, of course. I decided which sinking funds I wanted for the year. Right now, I only have 3 months left, so I'm only going to work on 2. And then I made my deposits and I tracked them on my sinking account. And I filled out my envelopes and I'm tracking those. We have gone through that complete system. Super quick, super easy, 5-step system. It is not hard. One of the reasons you do this running tracker is so that you can keep track of the totals in that savings account. And it also allows you to know which totals relate to which envelope. Okay. Now let's talk about using your envelopes monthly. Those are the only annual pages that are related to the digital envelope budgeting system. That's it. When you use this system monthly, you're going to follow the same 5-step process, and it's going to be very similar. So if I look into my October month, the page that helps you break this down monthly is your digital envelope breakdown, and you get one of these every month. So what you do is that you follow the same process, except you don't have to set up a bank account every time. Once it's set up, it's set up. So those 2 steps are out the way. So you start by determining what variable envelopes you're going to track this month, what digital envelopes you're going to track this month. That's how you do it. And you list those envelopes, right? If you were doing a cash envelope, this is the same process as if you said to yourself, let me put my envelopes together and figure out how much I want to save for my grocery envelope, for my auto envelope, for my dining out envelope, for my personal envelope, for my fun envelope, right? You would take these and you would put on the back what your goal is. You do the same thing here. Right here, what your budget is for that variable category. This is where the difference is. You would have to go to the bank, pull out $525 and separate that money and put it into these pages. Now, I'm not going to the bank like that. Are you? Most people are not in today's world. Let's keep it really, really real. Most people are not. So you can still mimic that process. You're doing the same thing here. You're listing what your goal is for each of the, or your budget for each of these categories. Same thing exactly. And then you're going to have your account prep. This mimics the, that cash envelope slip that you can take to the bank. That's what this mimics. Because if you were to take that to the bank, you'd be like, okay, I need $525 and give me 350s, 210, 220s, whatever. You don't have to do all that. But what you do need to do is write down the account that you're going to use for your variable spending account. This is why I suggest having a separate account other than your main account. I have one account for all my envelopes, and I call it my variable digital fund envelope account. So I have my variable account. I make my initial deposit for the month. I started at 0 because I'm starting this process for October. I started at 0. I need $525. I made a deposit of $100, and so I have a $100 balance. The reason I only made $100 is that I get paid bi-weekly. So my first paycheck doesn't come until like the second week of October, like kind of close to the second week of October. So this $100 is rolling over from September to cover my first week of expenses. And then when I get my paycheck, I'll make another deposit to reach my $525. I'll probably make a $425 deposit, and that'll give me all the funds I need for all my envelopes. But anyway, that's how you use this account prep, right? So now my variable spending account is ready to go for October, and I figured out how much money I needed. It was really easy for this first month because I started with 0 and I need $525. But the way this is going to really be helpful is that when you start going month to month, you might end up with, say, $100 left over in your account. And then the next month you need $400. So you're only going to, so this might say 100. So you're only going to need 425. And so that's all you're going to deposit. That's how come that's why this is helpful. But it was simple for this month because I'm starting from 0. Okay, so you set up your account. Now you're going to track. And tracking is the same no matter if you're doing the digital envelope budget system or not. The only difference with the digital envelope budget system is that on the left-hand side, you use these little simulated envelopes is what I'm going to call them. And this is where you're going to write your budget for that period. For me, I am doing budget by paycheck. So my period is for my first paycheck, and then my next period will be for my second paycheck. If you're budgeting by week, your period would be for the week. If you're budgeting by month, your period would be for the month. So for me, my groceries, it's not the full $300 because it's not for the whole month. It's for like 2/3 of the month. That's how I determine that. But I won't get into that because that might confuse you because that's specific to my budget. The point is you label these envelopes with the budget amount you need for that period. Either it's by paycheck, by month, by week, or whatever. So groceries, personal, auto, dining out, and fun. Same thing as if you had labeled these envelopes. Same thing. When you spend, you track your spending on your expense tracker. I have chosen to set up a page specific for digital envelopes and a page specific for my main account. That's how I've chosen to set this up. You could just set it all up together. That's up to you. You could only track your main account over here and track all of your digital envelope expenses over here. That's up to you. If you see cash envelope stuffing, most of the time they have 2 expense trackers, one for their cash and one for their debit card or their main account. That's typically what you see, because what they're doing is they're doing the same thing you're doing. They're budgeting the same way you're budgeting. The only difference is they're keeping track of their cash separately. So since you don't have cash, right, you're using digital, you're doing the same thing. Yours say digital envelope when theirs say cash. That's the only difference. Otherwise, you're doing the exact same thing. So I am using my main account. This is where all my bills and stuff come out of. And then anything that comes out of my digital envelopes comes out of my digital envelope, quote unquote, cash account. These are the only pages during the month that you need to use if you're doing the digital envelope budgeting system. And if you're not doing the system, these pages can work just for a straightforward budget. You can still list your categories here, and maybe you just list the things you want to buy in that category in this section. I don't know. You can use this page however you want. You don't have to keep track. You've seen me do my budget over the past several months, and you know I come in and I keep a running total, just like if I was keeping a running total on this envelope. Right? Just like if I was keeping a running total here. Okay, that is how you use the digital envelope budgeting system, guys. It is so simple. It is so straightforward, and it's fun. It's so rewarding. That's what I really want to say to you. It is so rewarding. So I'm going to take a moment again because I want to emphasize this. 5 easy steps to getting set up. First, I should say 6, because first you need to get these planner inserts, and they are linked down below. But once you get these planner inserts and set up your budget, then you just want to set up your spending accounts. Set up your variable spending account, set up your sinking fund savings account. Those are the 2 accounts you need to set up at your bank. It's not up to me or anybody else which accounts you use. Okay, if you want to use a Cash App card, or if you buy your groceries on your Discover card to get the points back, I don't know. That's up to you. That's your business. But I would say identify one of your accounts, or open up a spending account for your variable spending and a savings account for your sinking funds. Me, at my bank, I have a separate checking account for my variable spending and a separate savings account for my sinking fund savings. That's how I do it. So I have a total of like 4 accounts. My main account, my main savings account, my sinking fund savings account, and my variable spending account. Once you do that, basically you're going to determine your sinking funds and challenges. These are like your one-off ad hoc savings, stuff like vacations, major purchases, anything that comes up that you want to create a sinking fund or challenge for. And then you also determine your envelope categories. That's your step 4. That's your monthly variable categories. Yes, they can change from month to month. Okay, they don't have to be the same every month. I'm kind of boring. Mine are generally always the same. Sometimes I'll slide in like a hobbies envelope. Hobbies is where I buy planner stuff and my coloring books and my reading books. So I buy a lot of that. So sometimes if I feel like I'm going to have a lot of expenses for that month, I may slide in a hobbies digital envelope. But more than anything, mine stayed the same. But they can change every month if you want. And then you label and track your envelopes. This is where you use the system. And that's how you work it. A couple things I want to point out really quick. When you pick up this planner, it does come with these cash envelopes that you can print and make. All you need to do is print these off, cut them with regular scissors. I cut these with regular scissors. And it has flaps on the side, and you glue it down. You fold it and glue it. This is a folding exercise more than anything else. But these envelopes, you get 8 of them. They are included with the budget planner. I call these my signature envelopes because they basically match the signature covers that you can buy in this planner. You can buy a blue version, a gold version. The mahogany version is a bonus cover, and you have a neutral, like a black version. And then we have a couple of fun, colorful options. These envelopes will always stay the same. They will always be included with the budget planner. And then each season, I will probably have some seasonal envelopes that are sold separately. So right now there are some fall seasonal envelopes that are out. Now you may think, why do I need cash envelopes if I'm doing a digital envelope system? Well, let me tell you how I'm going to use 1 or 2 of these envelopes. Not for cash. Well, I say not for cash, but I always have 1 envelope for cash. And that is really for like stray cash that I get. And what I mean by stray cash is, I have a nephew who's like 30. And for my birthday, God bless his soul, he always gives me like $20 or something. He's been doing it since he was like a baby. And he still does it. He's like the only person who gives me cash. And so, you randomly end up with cash. And so this is a good way to keep track of that cash if you want to. So I keep 1 envelope for cash, for miscellaneous cash that comes through. Sorry guys, I'm doing this part in voiceover because of background noise. But I wanted to say that another option for using cash envelopes is to use these envelopes to keep your receipts. You really only need 1 envelope, and you can just put all of your receipts in there, and it still gives you that tactile feeling that you get from using cash envelopes. Like, the benefit of using cash envelopes is that you get really hands-on with your money, and you really keep track of the money that you're spending because you touch it all the time. So you can kind of get a similar feel if you keep your receipts. And let's be real, we all need to keep our receipts. It's a good habit to have. Like I said, you only really need 1 envelope, but you can use multiple envelopes. You can keep your receipts and separate them by categories. Really, each envelope that you have a variable category, you can, keep your receipts for that envelope. And that's what I'm going to do. I get a lot of digital receipts, but I also get the opportunity to print those digital receipts. So I am going to use at least 1 of these envelopes for my receipts. And I'm actually really excited about that. So like I said, you still get that tactile feeling that others get. And we all need to be saving our receipts. It's just a good financial habit to save your receipts. Another benefit of that is you get the opportunity to actually use these really cute envelopes like everybody else, right? That's a benefit of doing cash envelopes. So if you're using it for your receipts, you get to have that same experience. And so I'm excited to do that for the upcoming quarter and see if it works for me. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about using the digital envelope budgeting system, please, please, please post a comment. Let me know what your question is. Join our member community and ask questions there. And so that way we can help each other maybe do something that others aren't really doing as much. So thanks so much for watching. Have a happy week planning.